a guy that was, let me see, I'm 40. How old is Alex Jones? He'd probably be 38, 39.
Well, that's another thing. They say that Alex Jones is only 49 or just turned 40 or something. He looks a lot older than that.
Yeah, I thought he looked older than I did, but he was.
And I got to admit, the pictures where they show the Bill Hicks guy, he's got a couple of moles on his neck that really do match. So that's what I'm saying, Sherry Lee. I'm not beating you up. I'm sorry if I'm making fun of you. I'm not. What I'm saying is I want to understand is the truth of the relevance. What do I do with that information? I mean, I'm already paranoid, girl. You know, so we don't listen, Alex.
Someone said he was that he used to power lift or bodybuild or something, and so I got looking at this old Powerlifting USA, and you know, it had a name, Alex Jones in there, but it didn't have his picture, so you know, I couldn't prove that. You know, the Bill Hicks, wasn't he a comedian or something?
Yeah, and he looks a lot like him, and oh yeah, his bottom set of teeth sure does match Alex, man. Kind of crookedy in the exact same way. They sort of match. So I'm saying I don't think it's necessarily. I'm not saying that Alex Jones is not Bill Hicks. I think it's actually quite convincing that he might be. I just don't know what the relevance of that is. I don't know what to do with that information. The reason I brought that up was I don't listen to him hardly at all anymore.
I
just blaze through.
I think he has woke a lot more people up than he's whatever you were saying earlier. I forget how you worded it.
Yeah, me too. Well, it's like, so what? He doesn't mention Zionist. I think if you listen to him long enough, you'll figure out the Zionist angle on your own. So I still think he's beneficial.
Yeah.
If I've heard it once, I've heard it a dozen times, and I'm not exaggerating. Yeah, Alex Jones woke me up.
No shit.
Yeah, he did me too.
I listened to Pete Santilli, an old show of his just recently, and on the show he says the reason why he started doing his show is because of Alex Jones, because it woke him up. And then later on he turned on him.
I heard him say that too. I think he woke up pretty much about everybody.
No smack to Pete. I'm just saying that I think there's levels of awakeness, and maybe he's good at getting the first stages going. So back to your point earlier, I was going to say my point was we do want to focus on more practical stuff. We don't want to do a how-to show. It's an entertainment show, commentary, review, politics, news. We want to do all that. But I want to try to do my best to focus on respect for other people's opinions and a bloodyless coup and a revolution without a revolution. Overnight, it can be done. It's just like Henry Ford said, if people knew about the banking system, there would be a revolution before the next morning or something. And in other words, and I believe that, it could spread like a viral consciousness so fast that these people are just stripped of powers and the emperors with no clothes overnight. And it's like, okay, launch the missiles. And it's like, no, we're not doing that. What the hell? I said launch the missiles. Code 3. Like, no, we're not doing that. Nope. We're not doing that. And I got to tell you, where are our generals? Where's our military? Is there any honorable general left?
What do you think about the American Spring, that colonel and you guys? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, people that I know a lieutenant colonel, and he was telling me it's nothing sinister. They're just scaling back the military. The wars are over. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Because I was
what about Operation American Spring? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that they're getting quite good at starting these social revolutions by sending in these Ambassador Stevens types on board ships sneaky in the middle of the night to release death row inmates from the local prisons and hire adjutants, example being the Ukraine, Flash, news story, Ukraine, snipers kill 94, including police and protesters. Later on, via forensic evidence, it's proved that they're all shot by the same people. So you had snipers that were hired by the opposition, fire on protesters as well as policemen to stir it in. Yep. And so who supported that? We all know who supported that. Chevron, Exxon, these people that have already signed contracts that took months to put together for their fracking oil. And then we have the guts and the balls and the hypocrisy to sit there and tell Putin via Kerry, being Jughead Kerry, saying, about nation sovereignty after Iraq and Iran, Libya. It's a joke. Our president, they were a joke.
The way Washington, D.C. is laid out, that'd be a sacrifice, wouldn't it?
I just don't understand, besides the oil industry, and we're pumping out fracking oil out our ears, why we need to get involved with the Ukraine other than their desire to place missiles in the Ukraine. I believe that Ukraine deserves our attention because they did go foolishly support Desert Storm. They sent troops there that got killed. They're like our buddies, the Ukrainians. And they were tortured and starved to death by the Russians. The only problem is half the country is basically Russian. The Russians aren't going to give up a warm water port to the Mediterranean, those gas fields, and then as far as the EU, the Europeans, they're so stupid. All Russia has to do is turn off the gas spigot. They're fucked. So they got no leverage, none. And Hillary Clinton, for all you fags are going to vote for her next year, you dummies. Her first thing out of her mouth is that Putin is Hitler. Well, even if it is Hitler, and even if you're right, you're saber-rattling with some dude that don't play. Black belt, ex-KGB, survivalist, hockey-playing, tiger wrestling man's man that'll whip them pussy riots down. Whip them bitches right back into jail, you dumb bitches. Dumb.
Yeah, I saw a picture. I saw a picture had Putin riding a grizzly bear, like a big Russian bear, and next to him was Obama on a unicorn, rainbow-colored unicorn.
Well, there's been several trends. I mean, I think that we've spent the last 3 years or so via the propaganda device propagating Putin, showing him chopping wood, showing him flying an ultralight plane, wrestling, taekwondo, shooting, all these things, making him look like a stud. If I've said it one time, we have the limp-wristed Chicago gangster, Mombassan versus hardcore nationalist Putin, ex-KGB man's man. I think he's been being promoted for a long time, and then he's also had a couple of bouts of true diplomacy wrangling. Man, he pulled the Syria debacle out of the toilet. But of course, Obama told Putin he could be more flexible later, so that's probably what that was all about. And then the other thing is Project Thor, which is a gigantic telephone pole floating in space kinetic weapon, is shared by us and the Russians. So the Russians and the United States share a doomsday weapon. How is that possible that we're not friends?
I think it's all WWF shit, man. I think...
well, and then the other thing, brother, when they talk about World War III, okay, I can see this is super serious. My throat is too sore to explain the whole Ukrainian situation, but let's face it, did they or did they not say, North Korea is launching atomic bombs, the beginning of World War III, China threatens local Japanese island, the beginning of World War III, Libya invaded, World War III, Syria, World War III, Egypt, World War III.
Yeah, a lot of propaganda, it's all ratings and clicks.
Listen to an old truther show. Listen to an old truther show, including my channel. Listen to some old shows that are like 2 years old. It was like the sky was falling. We were panicking. Nothing happened.
Well, that's when I really started listened to your show. It was about a couple years ago. And, it was like everybody was doing doom shit, man. And that takes a toll on you, man. It makes you crazy.
Yeah, I know, me too.
To just do that, day in and day out, but you get so involved in it, man. It seems like, man, the fucking world's in it, man. What am I doing?
Well, a lot of people call me.
It actually really is, we're in bad shape. But yeah, I guess doing a show to where you're giving people, waking them up and trying not to have a bloodbath, having alternatives to trying to educate people, or however it is you do it.
Well, I don't like the call in the Secret Service and doing kind of childish phone pranks and cocking your weapon. And I'll just tell you, I took a lot of bad heat, and I'm this bad traitor bad guy because I left Pete's. And it wasn't even so much with Pete. For me, it was a Dave Chappelle moment. I got asked who I would shoot like 2 times in a row when I was speaking on his show, and I got tired of it because I don't want to shoot anybody.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want to be exposed to that anymore. And, maybe somehow Pete, and like I said, I'm not bashing him, but somehow that guy is just fucking law bulletproof. He can just say and do whatever he wants, and they don't cart him away.
Well, I was thinking about, about the Hillary statement. That freaked me out. I thought, what the hell?
Well, the only reason it wasn't taken more serious is because it was vulgar.
Mm.
If the word cunt hadn't been involved, if it had been her foot or her hand, shoot her in the hand, it would have been taken way more serious. But since it was so vulgar, it was like Popeye talk. They just, that's crackpot. It's not a real threat. That would be my guess. I don't know. Teflon Don, the guy just takes a lick and keeps on ticking and then calls the FBI and doesn't even really get any message or information, just taunts them and torments them. And then the other thing of challenging people to come and get him. And he kept talking about fucking propane tanks bomb bullshit on the air and cocking his machine gun on the air like a scared little boy. That's all. Nothing bad. Not bashing the guy. I'm just saying that was my reasoning. And from what I understand, it's blown up over there. And now that I'm being direct, hey Heather, hope you're listening, girl. Used to be my fan. You called me an asshole over Neo, calling my show like 4 times in a row drunk. I tried to put up with him. I don't have a problem. Neo is acting like an idiot. So I wasn't the asshole. Nice blame in the messenger. Of course, I got out of there 5 months before the whole gang did. But I'm the bad guy. I'm a traitor to my grandchildren, somehow. That's the other thing. I don't want to deal with a person that takes 10 years to figure out 9/11 was fake. Don't want to listen to other people. Don't send me links. I don't care about new information. Don't tell me what to say. I'm never wrong, and I'm not going to change. I don't need that. I need someone that's flexible and footloose and could get new information and make new decisions that don't involve violence. Or I don't want to be part of the old political process. I'm just going to be at the front blazing away, killing other people to get my way. And that's why I'm angry. I'm mad because they're destroying our way of life and destroying this planet. There's got to be a way. Well, I'll give you an example, okay, bro? I'll give you an example. There's only 2 countries in the world that had a civil war and there was bloodshed over the ending of slavery. Haiti and the United States. 680,000 dead. Now, there were more reasons, but it's painted in the history books that it was over slavery, okay? In England, they just passed a law and bought all the slaves. It would have been far cheaper to just buy everybody's slaves. It was a done deal. Dutch, Holland, Argentina, Brazil, they just passed a law and slavery was gone overnight. Done. No bloodshed. So it